It's inanimate.
Our inability, let's say this game, to generate explosive plays, whether that's through the run or through the air, is not where I want it to be right now. So we'll keep doing it. Keep calling them. And we just got to keep on improving in that area. Because it's, again, 16 play drives for touchdowns. It's hard to do on a consistent basis. So you couple that with red zone and some missed opportunities in the kicking game throughout, I'd say, the course of the past couple weeks. There's, we got to score more points.
What's funny? There's an easy way to avoid the kicking game. It's simple. Well, maybe it's not simple. Maybe it's very complex. It's called, wait for it, score a fucking touchdown. How about that? How about we go with that, Dabes? And I know you're trying to be politically correct. I understand that. You're trying not to completely throw your quarterback under the bus. Of course, this is Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Today, we want to really just address and talk about the ineptitude of this offense. And we want to talk about how you could say the nicest things possible about Daniel Jones, how he drives kids to the dialysis machine. He helps old ladies across the street. He's just an all-around great kid from Duke. But we just need to talk about how Dable seems to understand that I don't think it's his offensive philosophy. I think it's the quarterback's inability or incapability of throwing the ball more than 10 yards. And as New York Giant fans, I say this all the time. We deserve better. We deserve better than what we have seen the last 6 years. And for Dable to sit there and say, we're going to keep calling them plays, but we're going to have to, we're going to have to try and improve in that area. Here's the problem. If your quarterback doesn't throw the ball when the play is available, then that's an issue. I keep seeing that one play where I believe it was, I can't remember which play it was, but it was an incomplete. It was one of the incomplete passes on fourth down. And as Daniel Jones is staring at Jalen Hyatt gets more than a step on his man. Daniel Jones basically turns his head the other way and throws it into coverage for an incompletion. You got to take a chance. You got to understand that in this sport, if you don't take chances, you're gonna have these drives where you can meticulously matriculate the ball down the field, but at the end of the day, if you don't get a touchdown and you're relying on field goals to win you these games, like we have seen now the last I don't know how many years, you're never gonna win. And you're never going to win consistently. Even Dable said, it is amazing that you have a drive that's 16 plays. You're not going to get those drives all the time. You're not going to be consistent about it. But when you have a 16-play drive, you need to punch it in the end zone. Plain and simple. There should be no thought process behind the fact that you should just be scoring touchdowns. And if your quarterback has the inability to throw the ball or look further, I was jokingly saying someone a lot. I was jokingly saying something to someone the other day, and I said, maybe Daniel Jones needs glasses.
Do you see the light? What light? Have you seen the light?
Yes! Jesus H. goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
Because maybe that's why he can't throw it more than 10 yards down the field. When you average 5 yards a pass and you throw 40 plus times and you only throw for 200 yards, there's something very wrong here. And we've gone through this ad nauseum. You've revamped the entire offensive line. You drafted ad nauseum for linemen. You are now going through the free agency to bring in some guys, and you found a line that had some continuity. They've all played every single snap since the start of the season. Looks like Andrew Thomas may be in jeopardy with that. But you have these guys that are building this continuity. You're not giving up sacks. Daniel Jones was only sacked twice. You're allowing him the presence you're allowing him to have the ability to stand in the pocket and look downfield and have that ability. But this guy still takes a 5-yard out. That's got to be some kind of concern. You have to look at the quarterback.
It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
And it's unfair for this entire team, this entire organization, this entire city, this entire fan base to be put in these situations where one person, by hook or by crook, no matter who installed him into the quarterback position, is destroying opportunities for this team. We have to literally hope that we have to hope that Daniel Jones has a good game. That's what we have to hope. Because if he doesn't, we know we're going to have it.
You can do it! Oh, no! We suck again!
We've seen it now for 6 years. Can we just stop now? Please. And I'm hoping that we find a philosophy, that we find an ability to have someone that understands that you need to score points in this league to win. That's all you have to do. This is the crazy thing about football, and maybe some people don't realize this, because and yes, I am pointing out to the Daniel Jones lovers who don't seem to understand this, and it's not a very difficult thought process in regards to football. But the team that scores the most points wins. Do I need to say that one more time? It's the team that scores the most points, they win. And if you can't score points, you are taking defensive efforts from the other side of the ball and just throwing them out the window. You have to take a look at the way that Shane Bowen's defense is played. And I'm more surprised about anyone about how he's been playing and how that defense has been playing. And like I said, I didn't think they're going to be playing this well with the lack of depth in their secondary. And yes, they're young, and yes, they're going to give up opportunities. But when you have a high scoring offense like the Bengals, and you only give up 17 points, and one of them was on that bad 40-plus yard run, but you only give up 17 points, you're doing something right. You would think your offense, with your $160 million quarterback making $45 million a year, would have the ability to actually score some points. It's not that difficult. It's not this thing that we're not doing brain surgery here. We're not doing any of that. We are just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this offense. And I think, and like I said, I'm going to say it again. And you have these 16 play drives, and Hank Stram said it best.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys.
Kansas City days back in the 60s, you matriculated the ball down the field, but you know what the end result was? A touchdown and a Super Bowl. It's almost like Daniel Jones gets onto the 19-yard line and he crumbles. I said this before. For Daniel Jones to be effective, he's got to score from outside the 20. He's got to throw a touchdown pass around like the 24, the opponent's 24. Because you're not exactly in the red zone where he just seems to panic and get flustered and do stupid things, and he just makes these throws. So you got to kind of look at that. And he's got to score outside the 20s, because if he doesn't, he doesn't get touchdowns. Remember that? No Bucks, no Buck Rogers. No touchdowns, no wins. And as a New York fan base, as Giant fans, I've extolled the virtue that I've been a Giant fan since 1976. I was there the day they opened the Meadowlands and that lost to Dallas. I spent most of my childhood around the Meadowlands. I watched that Eli run in 2007 in the Meadowlands. And I was there when they opened MetLife. I was there the first preseason game when the Jets and Giants opened MetLife. I was there for the first Jet game when they opened MetLife, and I was there for the first Giant game when they opened MetLife. I've seen the conundrum of the 70s and what that brought. I've saw the bad moves by Andy Robustelli. I've watched the triumph of the 80s and the early 90s. I saw the lull that came in until the 2004 season, moving into 2007. You saw the highs up to 2011. And again, we're now back in the desert. And that's the problem we're having. We have a segment of this fan base that is just so ingrained with this guy, this quarterback. And I've said this before. You normally don't hit on your first quarterback after your franchise quarterback. You look at Phil Simms. Phil Simms was here for 14 plus years. We went through a desert until we really found Kerry Collins. And we found Kerry Collins because of his issues. And then we went through a desert again until we came across Eli Manning. So you don't always hit on that first guy. And I think the problem is you have a lot of segments of Giant fans that only know, that are in their 20s, that only know Eli Manning. And only think that, well, you draft a quarterback, that's your guy. You have all this defensive success. You were second in the league in sacks at one point. You have Shane Bowen has his guys playing above and beyond. But then you have an offense that just, and it kind of reminds me of the early 80s where the Giants defense was so stellar, even back to that 81 season, that they used to get mad when the offense would go on the field. There was the old saying, I can't remember I think it was either Brad Van Pelt or Brian Kelly, one of the original members of the Crunch Bunch, as they were running off the field after a 4 and out. And he looked at the offense and said, "You try to hold them on offense, we'll try to score on defense." And I'm not saying there's going to be this division, but you're heading down that fucking direction. That if this offense keeps sputtering and the defense keeps only giving up 17, you give up 17 points, 80% of the time you should win a game. Your offense should be able to score at least 20 points. And maybe that makes me bougie, thinking all that.
Out of here. Get your hands off me, Maria. Nobody call me bougie. Maria, what is bougie?
It means you think you're better than other people.
What in the hell? Bougie ass charge.
I want our offense to be bougie. I want our offense to be better than people think. I want our offense to, I want our offense to score 21 points. And I know that's probably a lot to ask for this team. Score 21 points. If you score 23, I might fall over and die. Score 21 points and see how easy it can be when you win games, when you score, wait for it, when you score more points than the other team. You have a fan base here that just deserves more. And I've always laughed because I say when I usually do these videos, I always feel like I'm alone.
There isn't anything for you here.
I have men at my back, and you stand alone and defy me.
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone anymore. The pendulum has swung back again. And we're heading back to that direction where Giant fans are finally getting tired of seeing what they're seeing on the field. And until you send that clear, concise message to John Mara, nothing is ever going to change. So let's put up or shut up, Giant fans. Let's make a decision where we want this franchise to go. Oh, as always, this is Tim. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell. You want to know why? That'd be awesome.